Hello everyone, and welcome back to another TheCardconomist video. Today's topic, the top 10 ways you're going to get scammed with Pokemon cards. It's been 4 years of non-stop business for me. I've heard every story and I've seen it all. Let's talk about the worst ways you will lose money to someone else's scam. Number 1 is going to be buying a Pokemon card where the seller claimed it was near mint, but it's actually a garbage card. Yes, that's right, it's a damaged card. That when you buy cards, one of the most important concepts is that you might be grading it with like PSA. Well, PSA can take like a dinged card and give it basically like a 6 because they consider it like damaged. It can't grade 7, it can't grade 8, it can't grade 9, it definitely can't grade 10. So you got these sellers on eBay that love to, where they say, yeah, my card's totally near mint. But when you actually receive it, it's in horrible condition. One time I bought a Shining Gyarados Neo Revelations and the seller told me it was near mint and it arrived. And it had a subtle but a very important sort of like damage bend in the center of the card. You wouldn't have noticed it unless you kind of a flashlight. And I saw it, I said, oh my gosh, there's an actual bend in this. So I take it back to the seller on eBay and I say, you sold me a damaged card. The seller says, you damaged that. So number 1, the seller sells you a damaged card and they claim that it was near mint. Number 2's a very insidious scam. It's the empty box scam. So the empty box scam occurs when you buy something from someone else and they ship you a box and there's nothing in it. But they have a tracking number from USPS claiming that the box did arrive. What can you do about this? Not a lot. You can contact PayPal and be like, he sent me an empty box, I'd like all my money back. And then PayPal's going to be like, well, it's his word versus your word. Yeah, pretty tough. This is why it's really important to build a good reputation on PayPal, because over time, if that guy who did the empty box scam tries it on multiple people, they're all going to report him. Okay, so always report that kind of stuff and make sure that your reputation on PayPal and other payment devices stays perfectly clean. That's the best you can do. Scam number 3 is a variation of scam number 2, the empty box scam. So scam number 3 is the trading scam. So this is even worse than the empty box scam because you can't even run a chargeback or you can't request your money back from PayPal. Here's how it goes. You're in like, I don't know, a Facebook chat or a Discord server. Somebody says, trade my booster box for your booster box. You're like, hey, that's a pretty good trade. He's giving me an expensive one for my cheap one. I'm going to go through with that. So you ship your box off and he ships his off and he's like, look, I got a tracking number and everything. But it turns out he never actually shipped you anything. He just ships you an empty box. So you've traded your valuable booster box for his empty box of cardboard. And you can't even charge back on that one because you never sent him any money. Do not trade your cards. It's too risky. You can trade in person. I never recommend people to trade with shipping. It's too easy to scam someone that way. What's crazy about the trading scam is even little kids can use the trading scam. That's right. A minor who doesn't have a bank account, they don't have a PayPal account, they don't have anything, they can totally get you with the trading scam. All they need to do is get some cash together, go to the post office, print out a label, and ship an empty box. So you can get scammed by a kid who doesn't have a bank account. What kind of trades, these empty box trades. Don't trade cards. Number 4 is one you knew was going to be on this list, the Resealed pack Resealed booster box trick. These have gotten real creative lately, especially Japanese booster boxes get resealed all the time now. That's because the shrink wrap is not complicated enough to fake or copy. You know, the shrink wrap on Japanese boxes is just clear shrink wrap. So there are simple machines that can re-shrink wrap them. And the Japanese boxes are having like rocks put in the box, juice boxes are put in the box, fake or weighed packs are put in the box. So Resealed booster boxes from Japan are just one example of the Resealed catastrophe. There's also other examples like vintage booster packs can actually be resealed using crimping machines, using super glue, using, I think even like steamers can reseal them if I'm not mistaken. So there's a lot of methods for resealing packs. Or maybe they just like use double-sided tape or something. I don't know. So when you're buying a loose vintage booster pack that costs like $600, it might be somebody's resealed pack where they've already tested it for good cards. Not to mention, since we're on that topic, here's one that didn't make the list, weighed packs. Weighed and searched packs. So this is the bonus tip. Somebody can weigh packs to know which one has a heavy holographic card in it. This is for vintage. Or with the modern booster box, what they can do is they can search the box by opening packs until the big hit comes out, and then they just sell off the rest of the box. Let me give you an example of searching. We know Weiss cases have a certain number of signatures in it, right? So you just open your boxes till you pull all the signatures. The rest of the boxes are guaranteed cold, so you sell those up on eBay to unsuspecting victims like you. Number 5 is a particular pet peeve of mine, and it is claiming that a card will cross-grade into a PSA 10. Oh, it drives me nuts. I've actually been the victim of this one before. So you'll get some ABC XYZ grading company, and they'll grade something nice like a first edition Gengar holographic or something like that. And the guy will take the card and he'll be selling it at a ridiculous low price. And he'll say, well, it graded 10 with mom and pop grading company, and it's going to cross-grade into a PSA 10. Then he'll take a picture of the card. He'll like angle it real weird. He'll take like some weird pictures where the card's all angled. And what he's not doing in the pictures is revealing that there's a big old print line in it, or that it's real off-center. This is so common, guys, because there's so many different, there's so many card grading companies now, and they're not all doing a great job grading. And PSA is sort of like the final word on what a gem mint card is when it comes to Pokemon card grading, for now anyways. They're the leader. And so yeah, you'll have like some random grading company or just some much smaller one that people know about, and they'll have a crappy Gengar that managed to get a 10 when it should have been a 9, and they'll say, hey, this is going to cross grade into a PSA 10. Now the problem is, if they were selling it at the price of a PSA 9, it wouldn't be a big deal. But the price is always lower than a PSA 10, but much higher than a PSA 9. So you really get ripped off when you buy one of those supposed cross-grade cards. Now this actually happened to me with a first edition holographic Gengar. I brought it up with eBay, and eBay actually made him accept a return from me because of the language he used in the description. He said it would cross-grade into a PSA 10, and I pointed that out and I got the return. So don't get scammed with the it's going to cross-grade into a PSA 10 description or title in the listings, okay? Number 6, a very common scam, one I deal with constantly, running a chargeback. So a chargeback is when somebody purchased an item with probably like a credit card, and then they contact the credit card company and they say, you know what, that purchase was fraudulent. So this is a very common problem. I've dealt with it many, many times. Usually I actually win the disputes on these, believe it or not, because I have so much experience with it, and I can make a whole video just on chargebacks. But that is a common scam. If you sell Pokemon cards to somebody and they use a payment method that allows them to dispute it or run a chargeback, what they can do is once the items arrive, they can just run that chargeback and claim, oh, it was fake. Now your best bet is to go through the payment platform, whatever it was, might have been like PayPal, it might have been Cash App, might have been Zelle, might have been Venmo, and try to open up a case that allows you to dispute that chargeback. The problem I've ran into is that chargebacks are often related to the credit card company themselves, and the payment platforms like PayPal don't have as much control over those. So you might be protected anyways by the seller protection, right? PayPal has seller protection. That has helped me a couple times. But on a rare occasion, the chargeback gets through and you just lose money. That's a cost of doing business. Now, again, I can make a whole video on this. There are lawyers you can hire when a chargeback is particularly nasty, and there are other tricks you can use to fight back against chargebacks. But yeah, some people, what they do is they take their credit card, they buy a bunch of stuff, and then they just say, oh, oops, my credit card was stolen. I didn't buy those things. But they do that after you've already shipped the stuff. Or worse, they do it before you've shipped it if they had bad pulls. Let's say you open some stuff for them. This is really, in particular, just for rip and ships like myself. There's a lot of rip and ships nowadays. So somebody will have you open cards. They don't like the pulls. Chargeback. Oh, I got stolen. So, but you know, those people, they don't get away with that for very long because these companies are kind of figuring out what's going on, and they realize they're just abusing the system, and in the end, their credit card can get shut down, their banking gets shut down, they can very easily get kicked off of the platform like PayPal. Some of the stuff you can do is actually document all the conversations you've had with them and actually submit that to places like PayPal, and they do pay attention to that. So they look for a paper trail of like behaviors and stuff like that, and yeah, they'll investigate, especially if it's a lot of money. Usually it is a lot of money. A very serious chargeback usually runs like $1,000 to $3,000, so yeah, they'll do an investigation. Interesting, right? Good old chargebacks. Number 6, the 6th way you're going to get scammed is the fake bidding is also called shill bidding. So shill bidding is a big problem in the collectibles hobby. It's when a special interest comes into an auction. Usually auctions is just supposed to be honest people bidding on an item for as much as they're willing to pay for it. Shill bidding is when somebody who doesn't want to buy the card comes in to bid it up because what they're trying to do is artificially increase the demand for the card. Okay, and actually this was the downfall of the PWCC company. They used to have these giant auction blocks. They were real successful on eBay. Everyone talked about them. This was how you found out about PWCC. You're like, damn, look at all these awesome cards they're selling on eBay. That's how you ran into them. It was like free advertisement for them. And they ruined it all because the CEO of the company was somebody to shill bid really, really expensive items that were on that auction block. So like bid this up to $1 million, that kind of stuff, right? And again, even if that person accidentally wins the auction, it's okay with the person who wanted the shill bidding to occur because it makes his item appear more expensive than it really is. So if I have a Charizard, I bought him for $500, then I tell my friend he and I are going to shill bid it up to $3,000. Looks like my Charizard now has a value of $3,000. This cheats the customer. It actually cheats everybody in the hobby because it's a lie about the value of a prospective collectible that you might have wanted. And now everyone believes that it's a $3,000 collectible when it's fake demand. So that's a scam. Number 8 is for you newbie buyers out there. Always get skeptical when a seller requests that you buy a good in a non-refundable way. You should always just reject that. One of the most common ways people will ask for a non-refundable payment is in PayPal. They will ask for friends and family, right? So PayPal has 2 methods that you can send a payment: friends and family or goods and service. Always choose goods and service. If they will not accept goods and service, just walk away from the deal. I walk away from every single deal like that, unless I truly know a person. So if we kind of are friends, okay, I'll do it. Right? Like there are actually people who know me so well, they'll ship me an item. It arrives, just pay me friends and family at that point. The real reason people want friends and family, usually, they want to avoid that 3% eBay fee. I mean, that really adds up when you're buying an expensive item. But also, it's with those expensive items that you really cannot risk anything going wrong. So let's say that they ship the item wrong and it gets shipped to the wrong person, or it gets destroyed or stolen or whatever, right? You need to be able to charge back if they made a mistake on their side on a really expensive item. So always walk away from non-refundable payment requests from the seller. Other examples would be a guy who only takes crypto. He says, I only take crypto. Yeah, because crypto's non-refundable. Zelle's non-refundable. Now, if it's like a big merchant, I use Zelle, I use crypto. If it's a big merchant, they have very good reputation, it's a casual kind of thing, I wouldn't worry as much about it. But if it's just you and another guy, you don't know each other, he doesn't have like a big reputation or anything, do not go with that non-refundable payment, because in the end, that's one of the easiest scams to run on a person ever. They send you the money and then you just don't ship them anything. That's it. And they can't do anything about it because it's non-refundable. So if somebody sends you money on PayPal, friends and family, you don't have to ship them anything. You just be like, thanks for the money, friend. We're family now. And so, yeah, I strongly, strongly suggest to always use a method where you're allowed to dispute an item, because if something were to go wrong, or if the seller was lying about what they were selling you, you need to have a method to get your money back. Number 9, simply steal Pokemon cards. Yeah, so you might do this at one of those big conventions, the Collecticons, or at your local Walmart. Stealing Pokemon cards is one of the simplest scams ever. Another option is to just steal out of someone's mailbox or off their front porch. That is one of the most common scams. It's not really a scam in the sense that you've been tricked, but you have definitely lost your money. If somebody is shipping you goods and they're pretty expensive, don't leave them on your front porch. I had a $4,000 box stolen one time, and I still wonder where it went. But I got my security cameras installed now, and I got Ring doorbell installed. So if you're somebody who's going to deal in Pokemon cards a lot, get those cameras set up. In my case, I had just moved to a new home, so it just so happened I didn't have them at that point. But yeah, you need those cameras set up. As for places like Walmart, Walmart card shops, you hear about the stories these days. Some people say every time they go to their Walmart, they see open product on the shelves. They find open product in the bathroom. You hear the stories of in Japan, there are people who are literally scaling the walls of a building in order to break into a Pokemon card shop. That's pretty extreme. In America, you have stories where people have drilled holes in walls to get into a card shop without activating the alarms. You hear about these new alarm systems that come with like smoke and everything. Yeah, it's getting pretty crazy out there, but that's going to be one of the most common. I guess it's not necessarily a scam, but it's kind of like a scam because you're stealing from somebody. So that's one of the biggest problems right now. It's just straight up card theft. Make sure you have a vault that's bolted to your basement, and make sure you got cameras, and make sure you got Ring doorbell. Don't let people steal out of your mailbox. Maybe use a P.O. box address, and be careful because these cards are, they're like gold now. Okay, and number 10. Running a rigged game in a rip and ship. I thought I would end there. Because I run a rip and ship, and it's very honest. We have a great reputation. We've been doing it for 4 years on YouTube. Run a rigged game. So this is one that I keep hearing about, rigged games. What is a great example? There's the NFL football player Blake, and he did like the Blake breaks or whatever. And he was running a rigged game along with the team, I guess, of other people he hired to run his live streams. And the way the rigged game was working was, you were buying very seriously overpriced booster packs because you were hoping to win a game where if you pulled the correct energy cards, you would win that game, and it came with a big prize, right? So this is people who are setting up bounties in their rip and ship, or just like prizes or trophies, and they're terrible. In fact, it doesn't really ever make sense to offer bounties because the price of a booster pack is part of sort of like an economy for what you could pull out of the booster pack. So when people offer bounties, they have to necessarily rack up the price of the booster pack for sale to pay for that bounty, or else they can't make money, right? They're not just working for free, they want to make money. The problem with that is, in that scenario, the bounty scenario, it instantly becomes a game of the buyer versus the seller. All of a sudden, it would be very bad for the seller if you could just pull a big hit and activate that bounty. He's out of a lot of money if that happens. So now the seller needs to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen. What do? They rig the games, right? So in Blake's case, what was going on is he actually knew the pull order of the energies. So he knew how to avoid giving you the payout. Terrible. Actually, there should be laws with consequences written for people who run rigged card games, because it's very much like a casino. And I guess it's a legal casino because it's not money for money, it's money for product. So it's like money for a toy. So I guess technically it's illegal. Either way, there needs to be legal consequences for when you run a rigged game. It shouldn't be something you can just do and then walk away with no lawsuits or anything like that, or no legal consequences from the government. There really should be consequences to rigged games. Be very aware about them, guys. Anytime you're in a scenario with bounties or trophies or prizes or whatever, where you have to buy something, now the seller has an interest in making sure you don't accidentally win that too quickly, because he needs to sell those overpriced boosters to cover the cost of that bounty. If it's like a $300 bounty, he has to make $300 of bonus sale money just to cover the cost of that one bounty. So I would just stay away from bounties. Platforms should probably ban bounties, but just in general, look out for those rigged games. Really question how it's running and if they could have rigged it. And that's the 10 ways newbies are going to get scammed with Pokemon cards. Did you like this content? If you did, share it please. I'll see you guys in the next video.